Welcome back, Gumption listeners. This is Ryan Lee coming to you with another episode of Stories of Gumption Podcast, conversations with entrepreneurs, creative thinkers, and just really, really impressive people. Today's episode is brought to you by Sparkle Clean. They provide professional and economic cleaning solutions to residential and commercial structures. They specialize in window cleaning, floor care, carpet extraction, auto and boat detailing. Give them a call for a free estimate. They're at 518-578-2931, or you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They may even be dabbling with LinkedIn these days at Sparkle Clean. It's SPARKIL-KLEEN. Thanks for my hesitation there. They do a great job. I believe their social media takes the dashes out, where it's just SPARKILKLEEN. Sparkle Clean. That's Zach and Kate Hoyt, everybody. They're phenomenal and really happy to have their support of the podcast. Today's episode is long overdue, but I have a conversation with my very good friend, Matt Craig. He's a mortgage lender in town, Rotarian, and of course I'll go through all of these things for you in his intro, but today's conversation is great. He and I connect on a lot of different things in business and personal life, and he's become a really close friend of mine, and I really enjoy every opportunity I get to talk with him. And today we focus in on the gumption of him starting with his wife, Sarah Craig, Open Gate Farmstead. Big undertaking, and it didn't always go perfect, but starting up a self-sustaining farm in a world that doesn't really benefit commercial farmers. He's not necessarily a commercial farmer per se, but he's certainly growing it, and he's doing a great job selling his products to local friends and Rotarians and professionals. So we learned a little bit more about that story today. We also talk about mental health, because Matt has an excellent story about mental health and sort of lessons he's learned from overdoing it a little bit. Being frank about it, we can all overdo it, and I personally have overdone it before, where you're just going. Work is crazy, personal life is crazy, you don't have time for yourself, and you're just giving it your all because that's sort of what the American dream pushes you to do. And we talk about mental health in the context of his professional life, starting Open Gate Farmstead with his wife, running it, growing it, and it's a phenomenal episode. So, without further ado, I look forward to sharing this episode of the Stories of Gumption podcast. Enjoy. Gumption, defined as initiative, aggressiveness, resourcefulness, courage, spunk, guts, common sense, and shrewdness. Welcome to the podcast. This is Stories of Gumption with your host, Ryan Lee. So, welcome everybody. Another episode of Stories of Gumption. It's been a little while. So today's guest is a very good friend of mine. He's a fellow podcaster for Craigcast. He's actually, I got to give this guy credit for even getting me interested in podcasting, because he asked me to come on his podcast a while back, Craigcast, and it put the thought in my head. He's also the president of ADKYP, the Adirondack Young Professionals. He's also a fellow Rotarian. He's the co-owner of Open Gate Farmstead. The guy's not busy enough. And he's a great mortgage lender at Bank of England Mortgage.
Newly MLB residential lending.
Oh, there it is.
This will be the official drop of that.
The official drop.
Yeah, nobody
Say
knows
it one
the
more
company.
time so we don't forget.
MLB residential lending.
MLB residential
Same
lending.
great service, same great Matt, PlattsburghMortgage.com, but we switched up our corporate, so I'm pretty excited.
Awesome. So there it is. You heard him. Today's guest, Matt Craig. Welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, dude. I feel like I've owed the opportunity to have you on the podcast to return favor for a long time.
You've asked me a ton of times. I was just busy.
Yeah. It's been a while, though. When did we do that podcast for yours?
My first one, I think, was November of 2018.
Which would have been me, right?
Yeah, you were number one.
Well, the first. I don't know about
you were the first one. I officially launched in December 12th of 2018.
Wow.
That's when I had the 5 episodes. So I started in November 2018. And then I did 30 episodes, and then I just sort of, like, life got busy.
Yeah.
And I figured, like, you can't quit the farm, can't quit my job, so I stopped podcasting. But I'll bring it back. I think the once a week was unsustainable for me. So I might do it, like, twice a week or maybe even once a month. Like, I'm going to see how much harder it is to add video and if that adds any other, like, mental overhead or...
Yeah. Yeah, I love the concept of adding video, but for me, I'm just like, I'm not gonna fiddle with that for right now.
I'd have it, but my office is, like, so tight.
Yeah.
Because the only way it would work is I'd have to do, like, a super wide angle or something. Because, like, my office, the desk is right there, and then it's only, like, I don't know. My office is probably only, like, 8 to 10 feet wide.
Yeah.
And, like, 4 feet of it is the desk, so.
Well, you might.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, see what happens. Maybe if there's, like, a way to... I wish there was a way, maybe there is, to, like, have, like, a button where you can, like get the video going, and then maybe, like, without having to go back and edit later, you can sort of, like, let it go to whoever's talking.
So they have that, like, you can... I also don't know if my computer will be able to run everything at once. Like, if it can run video and audio. Because what I want is a camera over here facing them and over there facing me, and then switch back and forth when we're talking. Because there's simple USB setups you can get where you just click a button when they're talking, click a button when you're talking.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess if it was that easy, I'd consider it. But power of audio, they say it's coming back. People are doing more audio media than video.
Yeah.
I love it. So I was reflecting before this podcast about where you and I actually met for the very first time. And I can't visualize it, but I'm pretty sure we met through ADKYP.
Had to be ADKYP. Because I didn't know anybody. Because I didn't meet you in college. And then, like, 3 months after SUNY Plattsburgh, I was in ADKYP. So it must have been then. I can't think of...
And you joined ADKYP after you got your job?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a great story you should just share with listeners of the podcast. Like you've told me before, but you went old school to try and get your first job out of college.
Yeah, I had a job at Texas Roadhouse, and that didn't work out. There's some good stories on my podcast on that. And then one of the companies in my office complex, they were hiring, and they sort of just, like, send out, like, an email and just say, show up. And I showed up, and nobody was there. And then I had my suit on and was ready to go with a resume. And my current boss, Travis, he happened to just be walking outside. And I was like, hey, you guys hiring? And they weren't really, but, he's like, like, we're a sales company. And, this kid wasn't scared to just walk up to strangers and ask for a job, so he might be good at sales. And I got the start of that Monday pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I saw something on Facebook. It might have even been... It was at Murons. It might have been speed networking.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was like, I just graduated SUNY Plattsburgh. I had a marketing and entrepreneurial studies degree with a minor in business administration. Just a little flex. And then they asked me if I wanted to do the marketing chair because the person who was the marketing chair, I don't know. I think they might have not had one, and then I just got on the board pretty much right away. I've probably been on the board for like 5 or 6 years now.
I was gonna say it's got to be because I think I started on the board of ADKYP when Hannah Provost was president, and I'm pretty sure that was like 2012. And I just remember it was pretty lean and mean back then too. It goes through ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I remember. I mean, I hadn't been there that long, and then you jumped on, and I feel like you and I bonded over being kind of the newbies, where everybody else had the institutional knowledge, and they're like, no, we tried that before, or, yeah, go ahead, maybe that's a good idea, and we were just like young, ready to just rock and roll, like let us try our ideas and fail a couple times, but that's how.
Yeah, I mean, I say that to the board now. Like, I still let them try ideas because it's like, stuff could change, and maybe the tides have turned for what would work, what won't work. I'm the president now, and I just try and, if you want to do the work, that's fine. Like, everybody's full of ideas, but all the ideas take work. So
yeah,
if there's something you want to do, I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, exactly. So there's really two ideas I have about your story of gumption, and we talked a little bit before, but the one that really fascinates me is you and your wife starting Open Gate Farmstead, because you didn't grow up here. You grew up. You're really a city boy. Converted to farmer, and like that's cool as shit. Honestly, I really admire obviously you're working your butt off all the time for that farm, but like the goal of like sustainability and like, having a relationship with your food, and like just you have solar panels, like there's layers to this, and I know it's taken a long time. So I guess I want you to go into your whole thought process at the very beginning, before you guys got married or whenever this happened. We're thinking about maybe starting
go from now to the future.
Yeah, give me the backstory here.
So I'm in real estate, so I look at houses all the time, and my rent went up $50, and I was like, we're gonna stay in the area. And I always ask realtors, I was like, I'm either looking for like I either want an investment property, like a multi-unit, or I wanted something with land or waterfront. Those were like the three avenues, because you can't get land and waterfront unless like you go way out or it's super expensive.
Yeah, wicked expensive.
Yeah, like we looked at a home in Shazy Lake, and it was like it had like foundation problems and stuff, and the strip of waterfront was really weird because it was only like 50 feet, and the house was behind somebody else's house, so you still own that waterfront, but it was like next to somebody else's house. So we're like, And Shazy Lake is like pretty deep. Like that's like a solid 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
We looked at a super cool house. It was in like Redford, but it was at the end of an unmaintained road. Like it was super cool. It had its own pond, nothing around it at all. But that was like 40 minutes, and an unmaintained road like was something that we really couldn't do because we didn't have any equipment. And then
and back then you drove
I had a
little red Subaru.
Yeah, I had my Subaru Impreza. I love that car. Subaru's great.
Subarus are great.
And then
so this is after you graduated. You probably because you lived in the city of Plattsburgh.
Yeah, I lived in the city. I lived in the city on Macomb Street for like 2 years, I think. Maybe a year and a half. And then I'm pretty sure I bought it when I was 23.
Oh, wow. Which must have been a big change. Like, you're from Rockland County?
Yeah.
And so, I think a lot of listeners know where that's from, but, like, paint a picture of, like,
it's
growing up Matt versus North Country up here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the outskirts of the suburbs. Not outskirts, like 10 minutes away there is woods. It's not like the Adirondack Park, but, like, there's fishing and camping and stuff like that. And there was, like, a part of town that was more like Plattsburgh where people hunted and did stuff like that. But we were just like a regular residential street. My dad was a plumber. My mom was a nurse. We had like, I don't know, probably not an acre lot, probably like a half acre or something.
Yeah.
And like my dad gardened and stuff, but no, like we just had a dog growing up. We never really had any agriculture. And some of my family members who were like super healthy got sick. And like, you know, you watch like the videos on like animal welfare online and stuff. And so we bought the place, and everyone thought we were crazy because we didn't have like a working bathroom yet. And we literally bought 2 pigs like right away. Like 2 weeks in, we had 2 little pigs. We bought them in June of 2016. I bought the house.
So you graduated in what year? 2014?
December 2014.
Okay. You rent in the city of Plattsburgh for a little while. Your rent goes up. You're like, oh, shoot, I could probably own, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then I'm trying to figure
We got
out
a sweet
where
deal on the place.
where you went from I want to own a house to I also want to own pigs. Like, where was that your dream, Sarah's dream?
Both of ours.
Or?
Like, we're very, like, you can read all day about doing a push-up, but you got to just do a push-up. Like, maybe, who knows, like, if the first time it, like, failed horribly and, like, something bad happened, we might have not done it, but it was like, yeah, you just give them food and water. It's like, it's simple.
Yeah.
And the first time we raised pigs, it was in a small area, like the size of this room probably was their outdoor area. So it was.
Oh wow! So
it was super small.
Yeah. What is this? Like, I don't know.
20? Let's say 20 by 10.
Yeah.
And it was just pallets, in the ground, and it was good. Like, we gave them a ton of fresh food, we gave them grain, and it went well. We started with 2, and because I was part of a hunting camp at the time, and when I lived in Plattsburgh, and the guy told me, like, if you ever want to do animals, always get 2, because there's always you can always find somebody to buy a second one, and then it helps pay for yours.
Interesting.
So we did that. I don't even remember if I don't think we had chickens the first year.
So it was really like, we want the pigs because we're going to raise them and we'll have food.
Well, organic meat is, like, super expensive too. I mean, it's probably, I bet you at the co-op, it's probably like $12 a pound at least for, like, good, like, natural quality pork that's raised sustainably.
Yeah.
And like, cows are awesome, but cows take like 2 years and you have to winter them. Pigs, everything we were reading online said pigs are pretty much like the easiest for 6 months from born to butcher. They're not super susceptible to getting sick. They're very easy. They're friendly.
They eat pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like, they'll eat, we don't feed them meat, but they'll eat meat and stuff. They'll eat whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. And it went well, and in the first summer we were just in, like, demolition mode. We had to basically get the house ready for winter because winter is coming. So we moved out 7,000 pounds of trash. It was it was moldy, so there was mold on the walls. When we originally looked, there was a mold spot on the sheetrock, and before we made an offer, like, hey, can we, like, take a piece of sheetrock off? And the place was dilapidated. Like, it was, if the place looked nicer, it would have already sold, but it was so overgrown, so, like, ugly looking. And the guy who did the work, like, the guy who used to live there, like, wasn't a craftsman. Like, he would just rough in a sink and then cut the drain line, and, like, he there was so many projects that were started and not done. Nothing was done in the house.
Wow. But that's why you got a great deal on it.
Yeah, because a lot of people looked at it and were like, we'll give you $30,000 because it's 14 acres. We're just gonna bulldoze the house or get rid of the house and start over. But we got inspected. It was 2x6 construction. The construction was sound. There was nothing. Like, you could do a test with mold, and you pretty much just, like, stick a pen, or with, like, moldy stuff, you stick a pencil in it. If the pencil, like, goes in deep, you're screwed. You need to replace everything. But if not, it's just surface mold. And it happened when they were putting the addition on. It rained for, like, or there was a roof problem, something, I don't know. He told me whatever I wanted to hear. There was a roof problem, and they fixed it, so there was no more water getting in. And then upon further inspection, we realized, like, half the structure was mold, like, under the sheetrock and stuff, because it evaporated. And the place,
like the studs?
Yeah.
Wow.
But we tested it all. Well, we didn't test it. We have no idea. I'm fine so far. Like, we wore, like...
Yeah, right. Who knows? That's the scary thing about that stuff. You don't know until, well...
But it was simple. We bought...
Down the road, but...
We bought some... we bought some mold stuff, but then online, it was like, that stuff is just bleach. So we literally just mixed bleach with water, and it came right off. So we had it all down in the studs. There was no electric, and my dad's a plumber, so he came up, and we roughed everything out. We put the toilet in. We put the water lines in. We put a hot water heater in. Because when we first moved in, there was only the spigot that's off of the blue tanks. Like, if you have a well, that blue tank, there's usually a spigot on it, and that was all we had.
How much time did you have before, like...
June to winter. So our parents thought we were crazy. Like,
to be honest with you,
yeah,
I feel like I would have thought you were crazy if I really knew what you were doing.
yeah. We didn't have like a ton of money. Like
you pulled it off though.
Yeah, I'm still alive. We made it.
Wow. So what was that first winter like?
It wasn't bad. Like we had a wood stove. It was definitely cold, but it wasn't like a horrible winter. But I mean, we got wood delivered. We did. That was the first time using a chainsaw, so like learning how to do that safely. We stayed on the porch for 2 months. Like there was a little porch, like way smaller than the office, and it was the summer, so it was like fun. We would every night. We would like make food on the campfire and just hang out. And then we got it done. Like we got our bedroom done. We just you just hit it. You get home from work. We used to work till like midnight, like 5 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was tiring, but also like I saw the power of like what equity you can build by doing stuff yourself. Yeah. And we've always liked prided ourselves on doing it ourselves, as long as like I don't like to do electrical. I'm just not, I don't know how to do it. Like I'll do simple stuff like wires, but complicated stuff we'll bring in an electrician.
Right. That's me too.
Yeah.
I for the most part I'm fairly handy, but there's a couple things that every once in a while I'm like, nah, I'm going to make sure I don't cause a bigger problem here.
Yeah.
Electrical is definitely one of those.
Yeah. And there's like tools of the trade where like I wouldn't know how to do stuff. I would have to like tear the place down to do the electric stuff that he did, but like he had like almost like little fishing poles that like he would root through the walls and just make a small cut, and he knew how to like pick up wires, like connect wires from one to another. And there's just stuff you don't know how to do, and you know, the time value of it is cheaper to hire an electrician, and then you know what's right too. You're not like worried about it. Like we had to put a new electrical box in, a good amount of stuff, and I mean we were clearing land. Like when we first moved in, you couldn't back down the driveway. The driveway was overgrown.
Really,
you couldn't even walk around the house because like the forest had like come up to the house. So it was like
there were that many trees.
Yeah, it was like a junk, not like big trees, but just like trees that just grew up. So we did that. We put
well, the pictures I've seen on your website and YouTube and stuff now, it's like
now it's finally starting to look like cool. Like we didn't have anybody visit for a really long time because it was embarrassing. Like we finally just put floors on. We've been living on plywood for like 2 years or 4 years.
So it seems like the decision was like, oh, we can get a great deal. We can have this lifestyle of like being like living
we knew before,
sustainably. But at what point in time does it go, holy smokes, we could like turn this more into like an agricultural operation? Obviously you're not a big farm, you're not like out retailing all the time, but like it is an agricultural operation that's growing.
I think the first year I didn't have the business. It might have even been the first 2 years I didn't have the business, and then you know we got chickens, we started selling chicken eggs, and then I was like, oh, you know, I can there's tax benefits to owning a farm, and there's benefits for you for having like a business with write-offs, mileage, all that good stuff. And Sarah didn't like her job at the time, and we were just like, well, like she's super handy, so she builds like a ton of stuff, and I was like, let's do the farm seriously, like take it slow. I think like slow and sustained growth. Like I've never had anything go bad or where I couldn't sell it. Like we've always been successful selling out our pigs every year, selling out our eggs every week, and I'd much rather tell people no and turn people away than have too much, because a lot of businesses try and like they try and scale and go humongous and sprint before they can walk.
Yep.
And I'm not in a rush. Like we'll do 6 this year, and then 8, and then 14, and then see where it takes us. Like I'm not married to any idea of what livestock we have. Like we just experiment with stuff. Like geese have been great. We added them a few years in, and they've been awesome with predator control. Like knock on wood, but we haven't lost anything since we added Torment, our guard dog, and then geese. And just slow and steady. Like
geese are vicious little
they're
suckers.
Yeah, they've drawn blood from Sarah before. Like they'll bite you.
Yeah.
They're definitely not friendly. Like I don't like the geese, but I like watching them. Like it's cool to watch them. We just watch chicken TV all winter.
Yeah, you've got a pond now. You got solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
You've got feel like I've seen like a bunch of other structures go up.
Yeah. Well, our goal was 20. Like we were like we want to be totally off grid by 2022 and like totally self sustaining. Like we want to. Meat is super expensive at the grocery store, so like our first thing was like let's get our meat under control, and we haven't bought meat in like probably 2 or 3 years really.
Well, talk to me about like the difference between the two meats.
Oh, it's just
like
night and
obviously day. I've seen it because we've gotten some pork from you before, but like I want to hear from you. You live it, like, because I mean, it's noticeably different. But
it first started in Ireland. Like, I went to Ireland, and Ireland it's an island, and like everything's raised there and butchered there. Everything's grass fed, and the meat was so much more flavorful there because everything you buy in the store or pretty much anywhere is factory farmed, and they're just trying to get an animal to weight as soon as possible. Like, chicken is just a texture; it's not a flavor. Pork is just a texture. Beef is just a texture. And like the first time I had a chicken there, it was like, wow, like this chicken has flavor. It has like something to it. It doesn't need anything. You don't need to add extra spices. The burgers there like taste like burgers. And I was like, oh man, like this is awesome. Like I want to continue to do this. And then it's better for you. Like you feel like good after you eat it. You don't feel like sluggish, and it just tasted so much better. And it was, we love doing it. Like we take our stuff up to D&D Meats, and they do a really good job processing it. Like they make sure the animals aren't stressed. They let them hang out for a night before they get so they like because there's like you can I can't taste. Well, I don't know because I've never had it since, but like. Animals like release stuff in them if they're in like a bad state when they get butchered or stressed out. Like the meat can be stiffer and that sort of thing. So we made sure like everything was relaxed when it met its maker, and like we care. Like we were sad like the first few times it happened, but we knew like I'd much rather have an animal like have a great 6 months and then like feed our family versus like have like a horrible factory farm life and like be pissed off and sad the whole time and like sickly and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we just slowly kept expanding. Like every year we'll add like 20 or 30 chickens, make sure we can sell all the eggs, and then just slow and steady. And it's been great. Like my job is cool because like if there's an emergency on the farm or something, I can stay home and take care of it. Or like if I have a plumbing leak, something happens, like we had to put a new septic in, we had to do a ton of stuff, we had to put a new well, like everything broke. I think it was
everything
last year.
Everything broke. He said.
Yeah, like literally like one day like Sarah's like
welcome to home ownership on steroids.
And literally like sewage just like comes into the kitchen, or not the kitchen, into the shower.
Wow.
What the hell? So we try and figure that out. And like it was originally a pretty small cabin was the original structure, and then he built like 2 bedrooms onto it. So it's still a decently small cabin. It's probably I think it's like 700 or 800 square feet.
Wow.
And then we actually had somebody put in a new septic for us, but he did it totally wrong. It was literally crazy and like a huge waste of money. And then we had somebody put like a proper massive one in, and like it's been great so far. And our soil is super clay, so you got to like we had to dig down like probably like 12 feet, and we added like 5 runs and stuff like that.
Wow.
So and then our well pump went one day, and like I learned how to diagnose like a well pump completely, like where to test what parts. And it was weird because it would kick on, but water wouldn't come out.
Interesting.
Because it like actually broke, it rusted in half. So like the bottom part is a little motor. I don't even know what the top part is, but it was weird because it was getting electric to it. And our neighbors across the street, like their well pump went too. So I helped them do that, and then like learned, and it's pretty simple. I mean, it's just a long wire that goes down to a little well pump.
It's true. I mean, I feel like I've learned so much just from being a homeowner, but it seems like you came full frontal with a lot of challenges. Where, I mean, I feel like for me, I would have definitely thought multiple times, like, what the fuck am I thinking?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. That's me. Like I feel like I would have been stressed by that.
Well, one quote I love is like, "What one man can do, so can another."
Yeah.
And like everything is, it's just knowledge. And with the internet, like you can look up everything. So it was just sort of, and we have awesome neighbors up the road who's helped us out a lot. And you just sort of learn like, I didn't have any carpentry skills really. I just mostly had plumbing skills because we never did carpentry really. Me and my dad built a little doghouse, and that's like the only thing I ever built. But it's not super complicated. Like measure twice, cut once, do good angles, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, do good angles.
Yeah,
you make it sound so easy.
Yeah,
but it's true.
Well, you learn. Like the first year I built with no knowledge at all of what it was supposed to be. I built a little woodshed, and it collapsed under the snow load because I used a 2x4 for a header. I didn't look anything up at all. I just was like, I don't know. This is how you build. Like this is what structures look like. And the 2x4 I picked had a massive knot in it, like right in the middle of it. So it just collapsed right there. And I was like, all right, like I gotta
learning moment.
Yeah, I gotta look stuff up and figure out how to do it before I do stuff.
Well, that's like me with woodworking. I mean, obviously, I've grown immensely in the last couple of years, but like that, anytime you're trying to get better at something, I think you just have to recognize that there's always something else to learn. You can't expect to. You can pretend, but you can't expect to know everything. And maybe for branding or something, you want to come across as an expert, but that continuous growth is. I feel like that's the journey. You throughout this whole like story of you talking about how you started Open Gate, it reminds me a lot of some things I've heard on other podcasts from national well-known podcasts and even some local ones, but stuff like like it's more about the journey rather than the destination. Sounds like you and your wife are really wholeheartedly endorsing and experiencing and enjoying the journey as much as you can.
Yeah, and like knowledge is power. Like once you do something once, because it's expensive. No matter what you have to get done, it's expensive to get it done, and we learn. Like most stuff isn't super complicated. It's really just having the tools and knowledge. And like we have our neighbors down the street or up the street. Like he's done everything. He's built houses. It's very like North Country. Like we don't call a plumber. We just figure it out. And it's we just figured it out. Like you go for it and just try it, and you might fail. You might the worst case scenario is like you lose money and you do something wrong, and then you try and learn from it. And as long as you learn from it, it's not really a failure.
Yeah. No, amen. I want to talk a little bit about like quality of food some more, because I feel like that's like it seems to be a growing theme a little bit across the country. But I feel like for me, being your friend and having farm fresh eggs has really opened up my mind and perspective to like, holy smokes, like I literally have no connection to my food.
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store, I look at the meat, and I literally find myself picking cuts of meat based on like how good it looks.
Yeah.
With no like real true connection to that thing that was alive. That was a real living being, factory farmed most likely. But I don't know. It's just that's not how it was meant to be. And
well, that's why everybody's sick. Like everybody's dying and stuff because everything you eat is fake.
Yeah, like it's really interesting, man. Like I'm not prepared to go vegan because I love meat, but like I think it's also cheating. It's cheating a little bit by not having a relationship with your food. I feel like that's part of the circle of life.
Well, everybody's far removed from their food for the most part. Like, he comes nice wrapped up in styrofoam. There's no blood on it, and it looks perfect. There's no skin. There's no nothing. It's all perfectly packaged. And they only want the center cuts of pork chops that look nice and are all uniform. Whereas like there's a whole animal of stuff to use. There's everything. Like I don't eat like the organs and stuff. Like I give the organs to the dogs, but there's livers, there's heart, tongue. There's so many cuts of pork. There's so many different parts of the animal, and they all they were all a different muscle on the animal, so they're all different taste and different texture and different uses for cooking, basically.
Yeah.
And you get better. You don't waste anything. Like, you don't waste meat when it's your meat. Like, you use it all.
It's like paying tribute to it, really.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, you go to the grocery store and it's like, I don't care. Like I this is sad to say, but I bet you there's a lot of people listening to the podcast too who can relate to what I'm about to say. How many times you go to the grocery store, you buy meat, and then you have all these ideas of how you're going to cook that pork loin or the chicken, or classic for us is chicken. Like, you buy like a big sucker of chicken because you're like, oh, it's on sale. I can get it so much more for less. And then all of a sudden it's like a week goes by and you're looking at it in the fridge and it's gone bad and you have to throw it away. And it's just like, oh, well, too bad, so sad. Like, and it just makes you think like there's just so much waste in our foods, all the food that we don't even see that has to be thrown away because it's never sold.
Even just stuff that looks weird. Like, they throw out so many vegetables and stuff just because they're not shaped right.
Yeah, but like, it's just I don't know, man. I haven't developed a relationship with my food. Obviously, I still go to the grocery store, but it just seems to me like it just seems like, you know where I'm going with this.
If I were you, I would just get, like, in your yard, go to like a mill and get like 4 cedar 2x8s and get compost, or buy some bags of dirt and just like start with salad. And over the summer, you'd be like, oh man, like, you appreciate the salad so much more. It's so much more flavor. Like, even salads are just a texture and a crunch. But like, when you get actual stuff from a farm, everything has flavor.
No, it's so true. That's true.
And then I think everybody should have a garden. Like, I think it's nice, it's relaxing, it's something to do. Like, it's great out in the summer. You know, you get home from work, it's still light out, you weed the garden, you pick some lettuce, you pick some tomatoes, and it's not rocket science. Like, everything you just
But it's also a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not going to the grocery store, buying the plastic box of whatever.
Yeah, spring mix.
Yeah, spring mix, because it's there and it's on sale for $3 instead of $3.99, and then you don't eat half of it because you don't really appreciate it, because you didn't go out after work and, you know, get dirt on your jeans and weed the garden, right? Like, yeah. I feel like it's so funny, but it's like the happiness comes from more sweat equity.
Anything you do,
right?
like, you probably like
the more
your
sweat
chairs
equity
more.
you have in something, the more you really appreciate it.
Yeah, like, if you go to IKEA and like buy a table, it's just a table. But if you make something, you're gonna appreciate it so much more. You don't have to like have a crazy shop, and like, you could just start with like simple shelves in your house, a little garden outside. Like, you can garden great in 5-gallon buckets. There's a ton of people who grow like massive gardens in the city, and they just have 5-gallon buckets and little containers for lettuce. They grow tomatoes, peppers. You can do it. Like, it's not hard. It's just a little bit of time, and then you get to taste it. And like, because I love cooking, I love eating, and it's fun to grow different stuff and try out different things and recipes and that sort of stuff. And you get to eat it. You get a great payoff. Like, you gotta eat either way. So
yeah. As someone who's sort of done it but continues to do it and will continue to make it better and better and, you know, bigger within whatever pace you want, what's your recommendation for someone listening who, you know, I think
if you're interested in animals, chickens are the most economical and easy payoff. Like, you get eggs and they're great. They eat all your bugs. Like, you let them out during the day, they eat all your bugs.
If you have dogs, they'll eat the ticks in your yard. Yeah.
And then, you know, you give them whenever. Like, I have stuff in my house still go bad, and I just feed it to the chickens. Like, I did a pig roast this summer, and it wasn't all eaten. And like, I brought it home, and the chickens picked the carcass clean. Like, even if you have steak, they'll take the steak bone, eat all the marrow out, everything.
Wow.
And do that. Do a little garden. I think garden's the easiest, because the negative of a farm is like, you have to be there or hire somebody. It's like dogs. Like, you can go on vacation with dogs, But
Yeah, you can't get a garden sitter. Well,
yeah.
I guess
no,
you
definitely
could,
can. And it's simple. Like you just water it. Don't overwater it. Like you stick your finger in the dirt. If it feels dry, you water it. If it feels wet, you're fine. And then you try it, and maybe you don't like it. Like some people, I know some people who eat out every meal, and that's what they want to do. They don't want to spend time doing that stuff. They'd rather go to the gym after work or do something. So just do what you can, and I feel like it's great for the environment. Like it's nice to, because I used to when we lived in the city, we had a dumpster at our house, so you don't really care about waste. Like you just it's whatever, it goes somewhere. And now when I just finally got garbage service, but I used to go to the dump, and then like you want your dump bill to be as low as possible, so you want to not have waste and reuse stuff and save stuff.
Do you compost?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lauren and I have thought about composting, but haven't really gotten started. Is it?
All you need is 4 pallets. Just throw whatever goes bad in there. Start
in the pallets.
Well, no, I'm like the first.
You
like 4 walls.
You make
or
4
3 walls.
Yeah, so you got a big compost with 4 pallets. But so you set up 4 walls, and then you just literally throw
stuff in there. Everything like coffee grinds is great to add. You can add dog poop. You can add whatever. Grass clippings, branches, leaves, and then in a year or two, if you add dog poop, you want to wait like 2 years, and it will get hot. Like composts get hot. Like you don't want to have it like against your house or something. You want to just have it freestanding against the woods line, and you turn it once or twice a year, or you don't even have to turn it, and it'll eventually breaks everything down. Worms go in there, they eat everything up, and
wow,
it's cool. Like some of our compost, like snow will melt off it, so it gets decently hot.
No kidding. You must have a sweet compost going then if it's getting that hot.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, that's
then next year
yeah.
you just grow in it. Then like you don't have to buy soil. You start, and I think everybody should compost like orange peels, banana peels, lettuce, stuff that goes bad. I don't do this, but like if you have a super legit compost, like you can D&D Meats, they compost all the deer bones. Like all the deers and stuff, they have a massive compost that's more
bones and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
literally in 6 months, all the bones are gone. It's crazy.
Wow.
Because there's bugs and stuff that eat everything. Like nature,
the stronger it gets, the faster the process goes.
Mm-hmm. Like nature doesn't waste anything.
Yeah.
Like you like when we have an animal like pass away, if we get sick or something, like sometimes I'll bring it out, or most of the time I'll bring it like out to the very back of the property and just like leave it there, and coyotes or whatever. I won't do it if it's like an infectious disease, but like if an animal gets bloat or something like that, you just bring it out back, and like nature will take care of it. Like nature knows what to do. Humans are the ones who are messing it up.
It's true.
And then it's just like even the water out there. Like we have an awesome well. It's super great water. It tastes so much different. Like my parents love my water when they come up.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
And Keysville, bud.
Yeah. great cheap place. You could still buy a house for cheap down there. I'm in like southern Keysville and Clintonville, so it's 26 minutes to work, so it's not horrible.
No, that's honestly that's still a lot faster than most people who live in the city try to get to work.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I can never do that grind. It's
a lot.
Yeah. Public transport does seem cool though. Like you can drink beer on the train. And like my buddies always Snapchat me because they'll be on the train together, and that's fun. But I don't know. It's a nice quality of life down there, and our main goal with the farm was just to try and set up our life like as cheap as possible, where we don't need to make a ton of money to sustain yourself, and that's like the goal. We put solar panels in like right away because like there was the Adirondack Coast had like the Solarize Adirondack Coast event or something.
Yep.
And I was like, I didn't even look into it too much. I'm like, yeah, let's just do it. Because literally the worst thing that happens is it does pay for itself. And I like, whenever the payoff isn't right away, it's usually a good deal.
Right.
Like if you do things thinking super long term, like if you think you're a genius and you're going to trade your stocks all day and make a buck really quick, you're probably not gonna. Maybe you will short term, but probably long term you're not gonna, because there's people who are way smarter than both of us who do that, and they even get burnt. Like there's geniuses who get burnt in the stock market, but if you invest long term, like slow and steady, put in 6% every paycheck. Like I do mortgages for guys who work at like factories who have like $500,000 in their 401k from just like, every month putting in whatever, $50, $100, and compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Yep.
And that was sort of also with the farm, like we're not putting anything weird in our body. It's all natural stuff. So that's going to, I hope, eventually pay off with like having fewer or no health problems, really.
Yeah.
Because it seems like most of the health problems are relatively new because of like factory farming. Like there wasn't grocery stores until the 1940s. Like it used to be, you'd go to a meat market, you'd go to a farmer's market, you'd go to whoever raises that and get it. And then it all changed when somebody figured out like, oh, let's make a market that has everything. And then they're like, oh, we got to get the cheapest prices. So instead of somebody having like diversified agriculture where they grow tomatoes, they had chickens, they had pigs, they grow 1,000 acres of tomatoes, they grow 1 million chickens, they grow 1 million pigs.
Yeah.
And that's no good for the land, because like down in Tennessee and North Carolina is where most of the factory farm pigs are, and there's too much waste. Like there's poop lagoons, there's gross stuff. Whenever there's hurricanes and stuff, like the animals die, and it doesn't matter because it's a commodity to them. It's not it's not a living thing like that. They have insurance on their animals, and they just take the insurance money and start again or do something new. Where like none of the pig, like our farm doesn't smell. Like none of the pigs, like they, each pig poops once or twice a day, and it's just in the woods, and then I'm sure birds come and pick through it, and it just goes back to the land and fertilizes it.
Yeah. No, it's so true. You see like the natural disasters that come through some of those places, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the cesspool or whatever.
Yeah, the cesspool goes into the river.
Gets into the water supply, which then gets into the
and that's real. Like
it's a real deal, and that's not what was supposed to happen.
Yeah,
that is a man-made problem.
Well, and in cities it's hard because you're cramped, and you live in shoe boxes on one on top of the other, 50 feet or 50 stories high. Like you're not all going to be able to grow your own stuff. So it's like it's a byproduct of major cities, but there's also, you can choose sustainable. It's harder, but it's definitely a better long-term payoff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it can't all be sunshines and rainbows, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
It was,
I mean, the farm, for me, it was like, I definitely overworked myself and like got really burnt out because I did the farm, I did AKYP, I did the podcast, I golfed all the time, I was traveling all the time for work. And like I always thought I was like Mr. Invincible. I can do anything. I'll drink an energy drink. I'll do whatever. And like I got like seriously like burnt out and like depressed, and like was in a really bad place like pretty much just a few months ago. Like the summer, I don't even remember it. Like I would get home at 9, 10 o'clock, like 4 nights a week, and like I work hard to spend time with Sarah and like to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Like we got a new dog, Torment, and like I felt like I barely knew him. Like I knew him, but like I wouldn't spend the time to go out and like pet him after work. And I was in such a grind of like, I got to make money. I got to get more loans. I got to meet people. I got to go to the CVPH event. I got to go to this event. I got to go to that event. I got to show up here and do that and do this. And like, I was in like a really bad place mentally. Like my dad has like brain cancer. So that obviously like weighed heavy on me. And I got super depressed. I got burnt out. I was pissed off all the time. I was smoking like a ridiculous amount of cigarettes and the Juul and like all that stuff. Like I was eating like after the podcast, I would always like go to Burger King or eat some bullshit and then wake up tired the next day and then wake up late and then go to Dunkin' Donuts and then like eat something like crappy for lunch. And you realize like I was getting fatter. My back was hurting. And the whole point, or for most people, like the whole point of working hard is to not just provide for their family, but to enjoy their family.
Yeah.
Like I remember in Wolf of Wall Street, it was
Yes.
the lady was like, if you do good, you'll get a house in Midtown Manhattan. If you're super lucky, you'll move to like far out on Long Island, and then the super rich go to the Catskills. And for me, I was just like, why don't I skip that and like move out into the country and sort of. But I did that, and then I was working so hard. Like this summer, I didn't spend one day. The first year that we bought the house, we only took one day off. We went swimming with Sarah's parents down to the river, but it was sort of like we had to do it.
You were redoing your house. It was kind of exciting.
Yeah, it loses its novelty. And then last summer, I was at every golf tournament. I was here, I was there, I was doing podcasts, I was doing every event, and then on top of that, like my dad being sick was a weird challenge for me because I'm very like there's A and I want to be at C. Like I have to figure out step B. And like you can solve any challenge. And like my dad getting sick was like I'm literally powerless. Like there is nothing I can do. I can call him all the time. I moved away and like I was barely seeing Sarah. So it's like, what is the point of working so hard? If like you see it super successful people all the time, like they always put work first, and then you know you can't put family on the back burner forever because eventually they're going to be like, you know what, like I loved you for you, but if you're just going to work and not care about me, like what's the point?
Yeah.
And like I was always a good communicator, so like me and Sarah never got that far, but like I would literally like randomly like cry driving around and like have like and I didn't know what it was. Like I was like, this is weird. Like I would literally like randomly break out into tears, like have panic attacks where like you're driving and like the car, like you can't breathe, like the car, it's like it almost felt like you were drowning. And like, it was I wasn't getting good sleep, I wasn't getting good nutrition. I was just like I would take not sleeping pills, but like I would take melatonin right when I got home. It was like a vicious cycle where I'd take stuff to go to sleep and then be tired in the morning, and then I'd wake up late, and then I'd always be in a rush. Like I'd be like, oh my God, I got to get
And then
here.
you don't have time to make a healthy breakfast. You grab a quick breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
You feel like crap. Like I hate getting Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast. Like you literally feel like shit the whole day. You're tired because there's nothing real in it. Like I would get like a large iced macchiato, which just had a ton of caffeine and a ton of sugar, and it would be like a quick mouth pleasure. Like, ooh, the hash browns are crunchy, but like you go to the bathroom, like it wouldn't be a great time in there.
Yeah.
And, like your stomach hurts all the time, and then you want to sleep, so you drink and take melatonin and do this and that, and then like it was like I got to the point where I was like going crazy and like super sad, like didn't want to do anything, it affects your work, it affects your life, like didn't want to hang out with Sarah, didn't want to go to events, and it was basically like I didn't like I always make fun of like treat yourself, but it's like true, like you can't treat yourself if you didn't work hard all day, but you can't work hard all day for weeks at a time and not spend time with your family and spend time to eat healthy. Like we weren't eating at home, like we were just picking stuff up, eating like frozen pizzas all the time. And it was bad. Like I was in like a really bad mental place, and it was like just exacerbated by like the holidays, the winter gloom. Like I'm like, is my dad gonna make it to Christmas? Like that sort of stuff. And it just like hit me hard and quick, and like I had like a mental breakdown. I was like calling people, I was acting crazy, I was like super disassociative, and like I realized, I'm like, damn, like I gotta get help. I started going to like a therapist, and I bottled everything up. Like Sarah had no idea what was going on because I would just be like, yeah, it's fine, it's all good, it's just work. And I get home so tired, I just go to bed. And then, they feel shut out. So they're like, what's going on? And they're all stressed out. And it's easy to happen. I mean, like, we're the hustle culture, the
Yeah.
work your face off culture, and I realized too, it's not like I make a good living, but like money definitely buys you happiness. You want to have money you don't want healthcare. You want to be worried about healthcare. You don't want to be worried about your truck payment. But if you work so much that you don't enjoy it, like what's the point? Like I would just be on the weekends, like I wouldn't take time to enjoy myself. I'd just go to work events or just work on stuff on the farm and get green and do this and that. Like now, every Saturday and Sunday, like I wake up, I take the dogs on a walk in the morning. Like I spend time just like hanging out, and everybody has different, like different capacities of how much they can work and how much they can take. And like I met my capacity where I was like, we had a super successful year. Like we did great on mortgages, but I was at my capacity where I was like probably, 10% home life, 70% work, 20% like other work related stuff. And like, I don't want that to be my balance. Like I want to be like 50-50, like work, life, or even, 70-30, like life, like enjoying life versus work, because you can make all the money in the world, but like what's the point if you don't have something to enjoy? And I had money problems, like we're redoing the house, credit card debt, all that stuff. And what really like triggered me was I got like one of my biggest paychecks. Like I got like a 10 grand commission check basically. And I felt the same. All year I was like, I'm going to get the big commission check. All my problems are going to be solved. I won't be stressed about money. I won't be stressed about this.
Yeah.
And the big check came, and I was literally just like, motherfucker, like I don't feel better at all. Like all summer I was just working towards the big check, and I would get close to it. I get a 6 grand check. I get an 8 grand check. And I was like, fuck, like this brought me absolutely no joy. And then it like dawned on me where I was like, shit, like, big checks are great. You want to be able to pay off debt. You want to be able to do this, do that, but it's not going to like solve all your problems. Like you're going to have to work on yourself and on your problems and like feel your emotions. Like I would feel great most of the time, and then it was so weird. Like something would come over me, and I would just like be overwhelmed with emotion that I was like pushing out, because I'm like a tough dude. I was a jiu-jitsu guy. I was like, I could just push through this. It is what it is. Like, and like emotions will just like rush in on you and like feel like crushing and crazy, and you're having like crazy thoughts. Like I would lay in bed at night. Like I didn't sleep for like 4 days straight, because like my mind would just be racing. Like, did I do the right thing for this customer? Oh my God, what about the farm? What about this? What about that? What about my dad? And like, it got to like a whirlwind in my brain where like in Joe Rogan, Elon Musk talked like how his brain like didn't let him sleep.
Yeah.
And I wish I remembered the quote, but it was like, stress is unresolved. Like unresolved.
I listened to that episode. I know what you're talking about, but
yeah. Stress is like unresolved tasks that you, and what I used to do is I used to have like a massive to-do list on my desk, and it would never get done because it was massive. Like it was everything that I wanted to do. And then I started to break it down into like, Monday I'm going to do boom, 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 because I never felt accomplished because my to-do list was always growing. Versus if you compartmentalize your to-do list and be like, you can go, Monday morning, 9 to 10 a.m., I'm going to call 5 people. Done.
Yep.
Versus if you're like, I'm going to call 50,000 people this year. If you don't break it down into stuff that you can celebrate, you're never going to feel good about yourself and like feel like you're doing the right thing. And like I would get jealous of like my friends who like live at home. And the worst part for me was like everybody's always like, Matt, your life seems so perfect and amazing. Like I'm so jealous. And I'm always like, yeah, it's great. But like people don't realize all the extra stuff that goes into it and how hard it is to have a farm and like a high stress job. But also, like, you know, if you can take the stress, you can succeed. Like most well-paying jobs are a well-paying job because it's not easy.
Higher stakes.
Yeah, it's higher stakes. It's higher stress. You gotta work.
Yeah, it's a higher risk reward type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, I feel like there's a common theme that I've heard across a lot of stories of gumption and people having difficult times, and then also this perception that social media puts out for them. And I feel like that can help perpetuate this, like, misunderstanding of what reality is, right? Like, social media is not sharing real life stories. It's sharing, like, the best angle of the best shot with the best lighting, with the best filter of you in that moment. And then people see this over and 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 over again on a feed, and they're like, oh my God, that's not me. And they think everything's perfect, but really after that filter and photo is done, it might be the person's got a lot going on. And I think it's like you tell me all the time too, you know, like it's like the people you think, and I learned this more so when I was fundraising for the Boy Scouts, but like the people you think have it together usually don't have it together. The best donor I ever got when I was fundraising for the Boy Scouts was the person that drove the rust bucket truck, didn't do anything flashy, and didn't look like he had anything more than the average Joe, but it's because that person actually had the biggest nest egg. Right?
Yeah. I think on your social media point, like, don't compare someone's highlight reel to your inner feelings. And that's what a lot of people do. Like, I know I was good at like manipulating social media and like making life seem great. And like, don't get me wrong, like it was a great summer. Like, I had so much fun. I was playing golf all the time, but I was almost doing what I thought other people thought I should do because I was like in the career path versus like I've always done what I want to do, but I was like, oh, got to do this or got to post every day and make like a cool status. And like, I never flexed too hard. Like, I wouldn't like post, like, I think it's so stupid. Like the Instagram influencers, like $30,000 shoes and watches, like all those people are just searching for happiness and they think this is going to get it for them. And, you know, beautiful girls and all that stuff. Like, I bet those people are super depressed and like have a horrible life and wish it was different. Like, I had a great life the whole time, and I was lucky too because when I was going through that stuff, like I had a good support system, and like it was a perfect time of the year too because it was right around Christmas and the holidays when everything shuts down. So it was like not easy to hide. Well, easy to hide, but like easy to like, oh, you know, it's just Christmas and people aren't doing stuff. Like I would always I posted my highlight reel all summer. Like there was like a week straight where like every day I was golfing, like every day at noon I drank a White Claw because I was like, fuck yeah, like this is what living is. But you wouldn't see like the 3-hour drive back from St. Lawrence County and going to get like a ton of apples and going home at night at 10 o'clock and feeding the pigs apples. And like I used to get pig food from like a local food shelf where stuff was going like starting to go bad. And I was just like wearing myself out and wearing myself so thin where now I'm trying to figure out like how much is this worth, reward, like what is your time worth type stuff. And I think it's a learning experience. And like I realized that it's not worth it to get home at 9 o'clock every night. Like I missed the podcast, but that was part of it. Like every week, like maybe for my life, because my home life is still very involved. Like I only heat with wood. We're still doing the farm. We're still redoing the house. And I realized like you got to have money to get stuff done. Like there's no secret. Like cars are easy. Like you could just go get a car. They're gonna let you, tomorrow. Anybody listen to this podcast, you 90% go buy a $70,000 car. you can open as many credit cards as you want, but if you never step back and slow down and think about what, like, I had 4 beautiful little baby Nigerian dwarf goats, and like I never hung out with them. Like I would snap a quick pic every now and then and be like, look at these guys.
Yeah.
But like now, like I go in there, they're jumping on me, they're hugging me, like I'm petting them, and I'm just trying to slow down because I think it's important to grind. I think if you work hard in your 20s, you can get ahead and relax more in your 30s. But I also think like you got to figure out what you like. Like you got to, do I like you even said it with like Rondak, where you're getting so many orders. It's like, you don't want to just be in your house or at your barn every night, like turning out chairs and working. And you want to spend time and like do what you enjoy. And like, I used to be very good on like the weekends of like setting like super relaxing and like going on hikes and doing fun stuff. But I was so tired from the week that like I stopped doing the stuff that I enjoy. And I was like, what is the point? Like, why, when do you want $1 million for? Like to like sit alone in a cabin and be alone? Like, no, you want to work hard to share with your friends, to be able to go out to eat if you want. But if you work so hard where you lose your loved ones, you lose your family, like what's the point then?
Yeah. So what now that you're sitting here, I feel like you've addressed it, and you seem like so much more like in control and like setting So what kind of message would you send to anybody out there listening that maybe is experienced or has experienced something that this same type of thing? I mean, I feel like it creeps up on a lot of people, and I honestly, being fully transparent, I think even I've had moments in my life where I'm like, man, I cannot keep this all together.
Yeah.
I think it's very human to feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, and like I thought about posting it on social media, but I didn't want to be like an attention grabber or like something like, I don't know, like I try and like sort of like not lead by example, but like show stuff. Like I just talked, like the day when we went to the brewery and just like hung out, like that was so therapeutic. And I realized like I was really bad where I would bottle stuff up and like chain smoke cigarettes and smoke the Juul like a pot or 2 a day and hold everything inside, and like eventually it's going to explode. And if you got to find somebody who you trust, who you can talk to, and you don't even necessarily have to talk about it, but you have to, like my job is very like, I say I have to like be on, like I got to, go to chamber events and put on smiles and talk with people and network with people. And I never realized how tiring it is to do that all the time.
Yeah.
And that's super important. Like any job you're in, I don't care what you do, it's so important to get out and meet people. But to spend time like not doing nothing, but just like working on you, like make a really good dinner and like drink a bottle of wine and just chill and watch a movie. Like, get off your phone. Like I put my phone away for like a week or 2, and I was just like, let me just like reset my brain.
To be totally honest with you, man, like I got this from you, I think, actually, but I've just recently I've had bouts of this throughout my life, but where I feel like I pull stuff together and I put the phone down, and just reading a book has been like, I've been starting to read like a physical book, right? Like open it up.
I don't trust Audible and all that stuff.
Read it, and like it's so therapeutic. Now, one thing, I don't know if do you meditate? Because I feel like
doing that.
I feel like a previous podcast I did was with Dr. Sharon Thoreau, and she's an expert in this. She's MBSR certified, mindfulness-based stress reduction. She's a doctor, neuropsychology, all that stuff. But she meditates for like an hour, 45 minutes, an hour a day.
Yeah.
And like you talk to her and I'm immediately relaxed.
Yeah.
Because you can tell she's relaxed.
My mom's like that.
She's
she
so
meditates and stuff.
she has I don't know if anybody can ever master the mind, but like you can tell she is incredibly mindful of everything going on and like her emotions and like, you know, everything, the way she wants to respond in a situation. She can always just like take a breath and she's in the moment. And it's like, I feel like I should try and do that. I don't know.
One thing that's been awesome for me is like my brain was like going like I couldn't shut it off. Like I was thinking like I just lay in bed and like not, and then the only time I would shut off my brain is like, I think that's why social media is so addicting, because you just like scroll and, oh, look at that, look at this, look.
Yeah.
And what I did was I wrote down every single thing that was stressing me out, from, you know, doing the books for the business,
for money,
fixing,
debt,
like
time, like getting,
everything that's stressing me out, like being overweight, smoking cigarettes, smoking the Juul,
slicing your driver.
Yeah, slicing. Everything, like what problems on the house I had to fix, what things at work I wanted to do better, everything. And like that was one of the most like freeing things that I did, because your mind isn't meant to store everything. Your mind is like a tool that you should just apply to specific jobs. If you try and store everything in your mind, you're like going to go crazy. Like now all the time I email myself like, oh, I have to return my LL Bean boots. Instead of keeping that like somewhere in the hard drive in your brain, I email it to myself and then it's done. I've been trying to like not use my phone at night as much, like just plug it in and forget about it.
I think there's actually a thing. I mean, for me personally, I've been trying to monitor my sleep a little bit better. And I've noticed, I did some research, and Lauren helped me research this too. It, like, apparently, if you if you are getting less than an hour and a half of sleep every night, if you are getting less than an hour and a half of deep sleep every night, you are getting less deep sleep than the average American. Now, I don't know how truthful this is. I have cross-referenced this with other sites and tried to like make sure that, you know, I wasn't getting crap data here, but, you know, fake news world. But it's concerning for me because I'm only getting less than 30 hours of deep, or less than 30 minutes of deep sleep every night. And I don't know what that's about, but I've continued to research it. And for me, I'm staring at my phone every night before I go to bed. It's keeping my eyes all like pinged out on the blue light that your phone is emitting, and because of that, I'm literally getting way less deep sleep than I'm supposed to. I asked Lauren how much, because we both have like Garmin watches that will like monitor your sleep. I don't know how accurate it is, but she's getting like an hour and a half, like you're supposed to, deep sleep every night, and I'm getting less than 30 minutes. Like there was one night recently, it literally said like 7 minutes of deep sleep. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? And I think part of it, man, is I'm staring at a screen too much all day.
Well, your phone is the same light that like the sun gives off. So that definitely messes you up.
You're not supposed to stare at that for a long period of time. And generally speaking, I think most people are staring at their phone way more than they need to. Or a TV screen. Like part of it too is a computer monitor. That's blue light. Same thing as a cell phone. So if you're sitting at a desk all day and you just got blue light being shined into your eyes all day, it can really mess up your sleep cycle.
And office lights are so like bright.
Yeah.
One thing I started doing too is like I would turn off all the lights while we're watching TV at night. Like, you should just keep some lights on because I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll get up and go to the bathroom or something. But I started turning off the TV lights and, like, relaxing. Like, not thinking about... Because I used to always think about work and, like, never let it get off my mind. Like, think about a customer who was pissed at me or something like that. And most of the time it was their fault, and they were like, you know, they did something. Like, we don't really kill deals. Usually customers kill deals. And I would think about it and, like... not be able to shut off my mind. And then I'd be laying in bed. I'm like, I can't sleep. Let me scroll on my phone. And then I just scroll for like 2 hours. And then it'd be 2 or 3 a.m. And sleep is so important. Like, self-care is so important. Eating. You'll notice like, if you're listening to this right now and you don't feel great, like I quit all kinds of nicotine, like quit cigarettes, quit the Juul cold turkey. Like, that's felt great because that definitely heightens your blood pressure and makes you like more uppity, I guess.
Yeah.
And then like, just put your phone away. Like, set your alarm, put it where you can't reach it, and just forget about it.
What's a sending message you would share with somebody who's... I mean, I kind of asked this question a little bit earlier, but what's a sending message you would give to anybody who's struggling with the same things you did? Because at one hand, we talked about Open Gate Farmstead, and that's just like this super awesome, admirable thing. But admittedly, life can catch up to you.
Yeah.
What's your sending message to people?
I would write down, like, get out of PS. Don't do it on your phone. There's something totally different about writing stuff out. Write down everything that's stressing you out, from you have to get an oil change to, like, your dad's dying of cancer. Like, write out everything. And then, like, look at the list and realize what you can change and what you can't change, and accept what you can't change. Like, I can't make my dad better. I can't do something magic and, like, boom, he's better. It's great. I can talk to him. Like, I can call him every day and, like, be a part of his life and be positive. All the stuff that I want to do on the house, like, it's not going to get done overnight. Making a plan with stuff helps a lot. Like, I never had a business plan. I just went for it. I'm like, call people and meet people and network, and good stuff will happen, and great stuff has happened. But now I've been trying to, like, plan my days a little bit better and just, like, slow down. Like, maybe go out to breakfast with yourself and just chill. Maybe it's taking your dogs on a walk. Maybe it's, you know, calling an old high school friend. Like, slow down. Like, life will, you'll be fine. Like, life will keep moving. Don't worry about it. Like, the world's not going to shut down. You can take time for yourself and relax and take time for yourself. Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like now my time is, like, in the mornings. Like, I make my coffee with a French press, and I'm just, like, chilling. I'm just chilling with the dogs and, like, relaxing, and, like, release the stress in your shoulders, like, release the stress in your neck, and just, like, chill. And it's hard to do that sometimes. Like,
yeah.
You feel like there's so much going on, but that's why I think the best thing is the writing stuff down, because then you can make a plan on it. Like, you've
got 50 things that are stressing you out.
And some you can
30 of them you can control. And then with over the next 12 months, you're going to break up those 30 things in a couple here, a couple there, and don't worry about it. If I'm not going to take on that thing this month, don't think about it. You're going to take on just a little bit at a time.
Yeah, and it makes it nicer if you have, like, all right, like, I don't get paid till Friday. I can't get my oil changed till Friday. But it's out of your mind. On Friday, you're going to get your oil changed. You know, maybe you don't have money for a new roof this year, but next year you're going to save up money for a new roof. You're going to
In order to do that, this month, I just need this much. That's all I need. I don't need the big number. I just need this little bit.
Yeah, if you feel like you're spending too much money out to eat, like, I'm going to make breakfast for myself. Like, the little things compound over time. Like, I was spending so much money eating it because it was like $7 for breakfast, $20 for lunch, and then, $15-20 for dinner. You can eat away like thousands a month. Easy.
It's crazy. It's crazy how much you can spend. I just redid for 2020. Lauren and I both just redid our budget. And when I really sat down and measured it out, I knew it was going to be like an area where I could cut back and save more, but I didn't even fathom how much money I was spending on that kind of thing. You don't realize until you really sit down and do the numbers.
And then, like, spend money on what's important. Like, me and Sarah, like, we don't need to go to Mirror Lake Inn. Like, we'll go to the diner, and, like, it's great to spend an hour at the diner and just, like, chill, talk about our week, like, be more open. Like, I used to never talk about my feelings at all. Like, I would never, like, wasn't even a thing. Like, I would just, like, I'm a big, tough dude. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to figure it out. And now, like, I just, like, I'm stressed about this at work. Like, I have to do some tests, and I can't do them yet because we have to do this, this, and this before we do them. Talking about it makes your life so much, like, just a weight is lifted off your chest.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it wouldn't be Stories of Gumption if I didn't
rapid fire.
I didn't send you some rapid fire, and this is a true rapid fire because although I recycle questions all the time, and you've probably heard most of them from listening to the podcast, I didn't give any of them to you in advance. Sometimes I'm nice. I give guests the rapid fire in advance, but are you ready, my friend?
Ready.
I love it. All right. Well, Mr. Craig, what's a book that you would gift to a friend and why?
What's the David Goggins book? What's it called?
Can't Hurt Me.
You Can't Hurt Me.
Yes.
It will make you feel like a bitch. It will open up your eyes to you are your only competitor. And it's truly an inspiring, like, American story of gumption. Like, that's David Goggins is probably like the most gumptious guy out there.
Gumptious.
And it's an entertaining read.
It was. I literally just finished that book. It's funny you say that. Yeah, I mean it's definitely changed my life, at least in the short term. The perspective. I don't know if I agree with all of the, like, crazy stuff he did to himself, but I think the principle of what he did to himself is life-changing.
Well, also what one man can do, so can another.
Yeah.
Like, you can. That doesn't mean you don't have to run a marathon tomorrow, but don't say you can't. Like, you can do anything at all. Like,
yeah. So those of you listening who don't know who David Goggins is, it is a good book. I fully endorse this book.
Go on YouTube and check out the Joe Rogan first and second episode.
Yeah. David Goggins, ex-Navy SEAL. He actually failed out of being a SEAL twice before he got in. So you can imagine all the terrible, crazy things he had to go through in order just to do that. But then he eventually became a ranger, I think, or he tried to be a ranger. Maybe he failed out of that too. He just so much failure, but also so much mental toughness that he kept building along the way. Ultimately has a bunch of records for 50 and 100-mile ultra marathons, run some of the toughest races in the world, and he's got the world record for pull-ups in 24 hours.
It makes you realize, like,
you don't have over 4,040 something in 24 hours.
And also, like, you don't have to run a marathon. Like, it can be as simple as going on a half-mile walk or a mile walk. And I think the thing I got from that book is just going for it.
Yeah.
Like, just trying and seeing what happens.
Yeah. And when you get, the biggest thing I got was when you get to that point where everything is screaming at you, your brain is screaming, like, I can't do this anymore. You got way more in the tank than you think. And it's all a mental game at that point.
Yeah.
And honestly, that switch in my head, it's a really hard one to, and you still don't conquer it, but that switch is huge. So anyhow, good answer.
Yeah,
I like that. Number 2, if you could meet one historical figure, which historical figure would you want to meet, and why would you want to meet that person? Putting you on the spot here. He's thinking.
I can think of
I can see.
who's
I can hear the gears turning over there.
like who's somebody I look up to, who's an historical figure. I think meeting like an old like Native American tribe leader who like, I gotta stop saying like, who lived life like truly off the land and lived a true hunter-gatherer life. Like as long as like there was some magic button where we both spoke the same language and can communicate.
Yeah.
I think that would be super cool because we're not too far removed from that type of lifestyle. And I think Native Americans are cool with like all their wisdom and how they view everything. Like they're from what I've gathered, they're very like everything has a place and works together type thing.
Yeah.
So I don't have a specific person in mind, but I think meeting some elder who lived through some stuff and who's seen a lot would be pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that's a cool answer. I like that. And admittedly, in some ways, it's a shame we don't know, more Native American elders. But cool answer. Number 3, you've asked me this question. If you could put up anything in the world that you want on a billboard anywhere, you could put the billboard anywhere, what would your message be on that billboard and why?
Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. Like I think there's something to be said about taking the road that doesn't have immediate payoff is almost always the better road. Like for example, if you go to Stewart's and buy kitty litter, it's probably gonna be like $12 for a 12-pound bag. If you go out of your way and go to Aldi's, it's gonna be cheaper. It's super easy to go to McDonald's. It's harder to make a salad at home. It's harder to butcher a chicken than to go buy chicken breasts. I feel like the hard path is always rewarding, and especially if it's something you enjoy, it's going to pay off tenfold. And the delayed satisfaction of different like choices or what your path, what you're trying to do. If you choose a hard path and you make it to the top, you're going to feel such a deep and awesome sense of satisfaction than if you chose the cheap, easy path. And our whole consumerism is selling you the cheap, easy path. If you buy this new car, all the girls are going to love you. If you buy these clothes, you're going to be the man. If you drink this protein shake, you're going to be jacked. There's no secret. There's no easy path. There's no get-rich-quick scheme. There's nothing besides hard work. And I think if people, like when you first get out of college, like your life is going to be hard. Don't blame other people. Like it just is what it is. You're starting out, and there's people who've been on the path for 30 years. They're going to be ahead of you.
Yep.
And I think if you take that to heart and, it's harder. Maybe your heart is, learning to cook something from scratch. It doesn't have to be running a marathon or doing something crazy. Maybe for you, it's learning how to cook a healthy, nutritious meal. Maybe you drink every night. Maybe it's all right, Monday to Thursday, I'm not going to drink. Don't try and go 1,000,000% at once because maybe it's not sustainable. Mm-hmm. And like I'm bad at that. Where like I used to, when I was in jiu-jitsu, like I would train super, super hard and eat super healthy and run like a madman, and then like after I would just let myself go and party and have so much fun. I think it's like slow and steady wins the race. Like,
yep.
Like I did the keto diet for a while, and like I felt great. I lost 20 pounds in like 2 or 3 weeks. But for me, like I love bread, I love carbs. It was a little unsustainable for me, so now I'm trying intermittent fasting, where I basically only eat 12 to 8, and it's a little difficult, but you're hungry for like 30 minutes in the morning, and then you feel better, and there's supposed to be good health benefits. So just trying out that slightly different path, and I feel like I can sustainably like only eat from 12 to 8. Like I don't think you really need 3 meals a day. Like maybe you do, but I think it's not.
It's a good point.
It's not the worst to just, I just try stuff and
Well,
try the difficult
if we didn't
path.
have the society as it was set up today, most likely we would hunt and work our ass off all day and get 1 or 2 meals,
Yeah.
right? And that'd be it,
Yeah.
like most wild animals do.
Yeah.
So
Easy
choices,
hard
hard
life.
life.
Difficult choices, easy life.
I like it.
That's Wim Hof, I'm pretty sure.
I like it. Question number 4. If you could go back in time and give some advice to your 18-year-old self, what would you say to 18-year-old Matt Craig?
I'd probably either like never try nicotine, never try cigarettes. I started with dip, actually. I tried dip. I didn't start it until I think my second year in college. And I guess like I don't know, because I had a great time in college and like I did great. I had good grades, but I almost wish I like took advantage of the opportunities a little bit more. But then I don't know, like everything worked out great. Like I don't really have like anything that I wish I did different or that I would change. I guess just like slow down and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like that's really it. Like my life been such a blur of like running around, doing this, doing that, and it's always fun stuff, but like I don't remember half of it. Like it was just so fast moving that like something great would happen. I didn't take the time to enjoy it. I would just move on to the next one.
Yep.
And like don't judge yourself so hard. Don't feel like I still feel like a failure because like I stopped playing guitar and stuff like that. Like I hold weird stuff like that inside where it doesn't matter. Like I tried it and I stopped. It's not a failure. It's not anything. It's just, you try stuff and then you change stuff. Like
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. This is the last one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite question. I ask it to everybody. So if we could put together a 3-person board of directors to guide and mentor you through the rest of your life, right? The life of Matt Craig, the board that you've strategically chosen, 3 people to all offer their own input. Who would those 3 people that be and why? They can be famous or not, alive or deceased. Doesn't matter. Who would the 3 people be and why?
I think Joe Rogan would have to be one because he's sort of like that for many young men. Like he's like a cool uncle that you get to listen to his stories all the time, and I feel like we would. I hope he'd like me. I don't know.
He probably would.
Yeah.
You guys could both eat some elk and jalapenos together.
Yeah. So Joe Rogan have to be. Probably Jocko Willink. Like I feel like I'm getting a little soft and I could use some hard. I'm going to listen to a Jocko podcast on the way home actually. Use some hardness in my life. And
So tell people a little bit more about Jocko, because I know who Jocko is, but I don't know if everybody does.
So Jocko's a retared Navy SEAL who runs a business consulting company. He has a cool company, Origin Maine, and they're bringing back manufacturing to America. And he's like a business coach, a military guy, a very cut and dry. And I love it because it's like true. Like there's no like secret diet. It's just eat less food. There's no secret way to increase your pull-ups. It's do more pull-ups. And I think it's good to have somebody who's like grounded like that and who has lived it, who's had successful companies. And I think the military background is great because it's very like you learn a lot in the military. I feel like they set you up with a lot of good life traits.
Yeah.
And
yeah, who would your third one be?
I feel like I need a female to get like a different point of view. I mean, I can't say my mom because she's already like on my board of directors basically. Like I hit her up all the time for advice.
Yeah. I mean, other people have used their family for that question, but yeah, I mean, if you can think of a famous woman.
I don't know any. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head who like I jive with and like.
Well, you mentioned your mom. It seems like that.
Yeah,
would
I guess
be
my mom. Yeah, because
why your mom?
She's like the reason I'm so smart. I feel like she's a continual learner. She's always doing like courses and like she has a great job, but she keeps like taking college classes and learning more. She meditates all the time. She does yoga all the time. Like she's very, very smart and like super hardworking. And like I should follow her advice more. And it's all simple stuff and like just enjoying the simple things. Like get home from work and like slow down and enjoy a cup of tea and like go for a walk. Like don't just rush into it. Just stuff like that.
I like it. Sounds like a pretty badass board of directors.
Yeah.
Joe
Rogan,
Jocko, and your mom. Yeah. Your mom sounds like the boss.
Oh, she would be. Yeah, like doctors and stuff answered her. She's a badass.
Yes. Well, dude, hey, thanks for this. I mean, I feel like the dangerous thing about asking you to come on the podcast is I think you and I could probably talk for 6 hours straight. We've probably done that before. But I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate you sharing your story about Open Gate and battling some depression and like, dude,
anxiety and
all of that and being overworked. And I think the mental battle of being overworked in today's society is pretty common. So anyhow, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate it. Hey, everybody listening, this has been another episode of the Stories of Gumption podcast. Lots of gumption here today. Tune in for the next one. Thank you again for tuning in, and that's it.
It's going to be gumptialicious.
Peace.